What's up, guys? We're currently close to a 1500 rating on chess.com, but we're not stopping until we reach 2K. Today, I had a super intense game that lasted over 60 moves. Let's go watch. Okay, guys, I made a classic mistake when I played this game. I forgot to hit the record button, but we're still going to review it, and this may be a really good thing. We get to look at the eval bar, we're going to see who has the advantages during the game, and we're probably going to catch a lot of mistakes. So let's go. He opens with e4. I play the Scandinavian. He takes. I take with the queen. He plays knight c3. This is the most common way to play against the Scandinavian, and it is a good way to play because he has the slight advantage in the opening. One of the best moves to play here for black is queen a5. However, I play a little safer. I like to go to queen d8. We have just normal development here. I play a little bit of aggressive move, bishop g4, attacking his queen. I just want to get the bishop out before I play e6, and so it's not trapped back here. He responds with knight e2. Now we play e6. He tries to kick my bishop out with h3. I just retreat. Castle, bishop d6. So more normal development moves, just trying to get our pieces developed and get through the opening. I play c6 right here. I really like how c6 and e6 kind of control the center. They kind of work as pincers, and it's just a really good way to keep out like the knight from the center and from the sides and stop the bishop from making any ground. f4, knight d7. He attacks my bishop again with knight g3. I retreat. Okay, so from this point on, we've both been out of the opening for a couple moves, and I want to develop a plan. So I begin to put my knight on d5. He takes it immediately. I take back with the e pawn, cutting off this bishop from basically everything on this side, and also allowing my rook to potentially have this open e file. And that's what I do. Once again, I put my knight in a better spot. It was on d7, and now I am prepared to attack this pawn on d3 and potentially move it to e4, which are both great spots. He plays d4, so I do end up playing knight to e4. From here, I take a while to think. As you can see, I'm actually quite a bit lower on time. But I end up putting my queen on h4, attacking his knight. It's a bit of a provocative move, and I'm really not sure if it's best, but I'm kind of just trying to create some kind of an attack at this point. He goes back, which is a bad move. He probably should have taken that knight on e4. Now that he didn't take that knight, my knight is basically free there for the next couple moves, and I can build up even more of an attack. And it controls so many squares. Like, look how many squares this knight controls. It is putting in absolute work. But I'm still unclear of how to take advantage of the situation. I played bishop h5, which was not a good move. I gave up all the advantage I had, as you can see on the eval bar. He just defends it with g4, so he kicks my bishop back, and I'm actually super scared at this point because, not super scared, but he can push this f4 pawn to f5 and completely trap my bishop. It would have nowhere to go. This pawn controls both of these spots. In the game, I actually had a plan prepared for this a little bit. I was going to put my rook on f8. So when he played his pawn, I would play some type of waiting move. And then when he takes it and I take back, and my rook would have this entire file. And I felt like I'd have some real attacking chances with my bishop face towards his king, my queen still in the mix, and then my knight still controlling a ton of areas. However, he played bishop e3, which gives me a lot of advantage. I'm actually a little unsure how to take advantage still because everything is so compact, but I do have a lot of attackers going towards his king. So I play h6, which gives my bishop a breathing square in case he ever decides to play f5. He decides to play bishop f2. From here, I am not quite sure what to do, whether I should move my king, queen, or just take the bishop with the knight. I elect to take it. He takes back with the rook, and then I put my bishop on e4. However, this is not the best move because it gives up a little bit of the advantage I had. He elects to try to exchange the queens. I, however, decide against it because I just feel that my pieces are in a better position, and I want to try to take advantage of that while I can. He then moves his rook to f1, which is a mistake. As you can see, I have the advantage, but I'm not sure how to capitalize on it. I actually get a little scared in game. I feel like he's starting to build up his pieces and maybe is able to start pushing some pawns and get an attack of his own. So when that happens, I put my queen back to d8 in hopes that I can come back this way and attack the queen side now and kind of switch the board. He plays bishop b1. I do play queen b6 to try get my plan going. He takes my bishop. I take back with the rook. He then plays knight to c1, which is actually a mistake. He does it so that his rook can defend this pawn that my queen's attacking, but he doesn't realize that I have a powerful attack going towards his king side. My queen is facing the king. This bishop is ready to do the same thing. And basically all I have to do is push c4 and I can break the entire position open. However, I miss it. I elect to play rook e8. My thought was to double the rooks and play something along the back rank. He misses it too, though. He plays queen h4. And luckily for me, I don't miss it again. So I do play c5. He takes, I take back with a bishop, and here's where that diagonal is. Whoa, why did that happen? Here's where that diagonal is. Okay, come on. I get a free rook, basically. Knight d3. I will take now. He takes with a rook. I play rook e2 because he can't take it because of this pin still. I am terrible at that line. My goodness, what is going on? Okay, there we go. The pin's still on, so he can't take it. So basically, this is just a good way to force more material off the board. I have the advantage, so that's what you want to do when you're up in material. He moves his king over. I takes back with the queen. And like I said before, I'm down to get material off the board. So we'll take with the queen. He takes with the king. From here, this can be a super tricky endgame to finish out. I highly recommend people study like rook versus knight endgames, rook versus bishop endgames, because my advantage is that I have the rook over the knight. So, but if you don't know how to take advantage of that, these are super hard games to play. Let's see what I do next. Okay, so I push f6. I'm looking to get my king up the board, get the king involved. Also, when it is the end game like this, your king becomes, he's no longer like a defensive piece. He's no longer a piece that you want to defend. He's a piece that needs to get in the game and needs to help you win. So that's what I want to do. He pushes f5. I do get my king up. Knight b4. I defend the pawn. His knight was attacking it. He's gained his king in the game. See, he has the right idea as well. I push g shit. I push g6. I just want to get my king involved. So he takes, I take. I push f4. At this point, I'm trying to, I push f5. At this point, I'm trying to isolate this pawn right here and eventually capture this. Because if I'm able to isolate this and push up the board, that's basically that's basically the best way I'm going to be able to win. Back, so that's my exact plan. I'm pushing my king towards that pawn. He defends it right there. I put my king on h4. And now I move my rook to f8. So his knight is the only thing protecting this pawn. He plays a4, and I elect to exchange the rook for the knight. He takes back with the king, and I'm able to get this pawn. And at this point, the game's over because this pawn can go up the board at any point, and my king can leave. It can go try to take these pawns. his king has to stay on this side to defend this pawn. So basically, he elects to go that way. I put my king on g2. This is important because now these 3 squares are blocked off. And once I get my pawn there, like there's no stopping it from becoming a queen. And he elects to just avoid that pawn altogether. He's going to go for these pawns and try to make some type of final last-ditch effort to get a queen of his own. And we just push the pawn up the board. We push P. Give him some checks. Make sure that he's not able to get these pawns actually in a queening spot. This may not have been the cleanest way to end this game, but we got it done. And I finally get that last pawn. And at this point, I want to say one more thing. Let's see. So in this point right here, it's actually a very great move by him. If I were to move my king up right here or right here, his king would have nowhere to go. So it would then be a stalemate, and that would be a terrible result for when you have an advantage like this. Luckily, I see that. I play queen g6, and then I cut him off with the final king move right here, and he ends up resigning. So I think that was a really good game played. We had some mistakes. I had the advantage most of the game. I just couldn't figure out the best way to take advantage of it. In the middle of a game, he finally made an error, and I was able to finally capitalize on it. And then I feel like we just played super clean down the stretch. So, GG's, well played.